Welcome back. Listening to Inside the Great Outdoors. Boy, it's nice blue sky.
9 o'clock already?
Yeah, time is flying by. 2 hours down.
It only feels like it's 8 o'clock to me.
Right.
I don't see a cloud in the sky from here.
But don't forget, now we got listeners all over the country. They're going to
sure
be listening
do.
to this all week. So it's not necessarily Sunday where they're at listening. And they're listening in various parts of the country.
Well, it's probably Sunday in the United States.
Somewhere.
Well, it's recorded on Sunday.
Right.
So.
But then they could be listening.
There you go.
Because the first airing is on Monday. And through the week, 5 days. So
they know it's recorded.
Yes. But
podcast.
And it's interesting, I'm sure, for where the station goes, there are a lot of catfishermen that so we'll be devoting more time to that stuff, information wise and stuff, especially we're going to be checking out fishing stuff, the YouTube channel who's doing the hacks and
the fishing hacks guy.
Yeah.
He's going to drop a video later today or sometime in the very, very near future about using chicken livers. And like I said, told everybody about Joe's catfish sacks that he took a couple of those at the Catfish Expo.
I got chicken.
Might be featured in one of his videos, so keep an eye out.
Yeah. So we got the chicken liver sacks and we got the shrimp sacks. And then we got oil and we got powders and we got paste. So we got, and the biggest thing, two things that have been doing the best are the catfish bombs, which have all the goodies that they like that you drop in the water to not only attract catfish, but attract bait fish that attract catfish.
Yep.
And the other thing is this catfish candy that I have. And it's like the dentist uses those things put between your
absorbers.
Right. And I punched 2 holes on either end. So if it's a bigger fish, you could use it. It's probably about 2 inches long, or you can cut it in half if it's mainly bullheads and smaller cats. It's easy to hook, because otherwise you got to fight getting it in and you got to fight getting it out. And so with those punched holes, it's easy to hook. And it's soaked in mostly
shrimp.
Popular has been shrimp.
Yep.
But I also have chicken livers with that, and I have other various scents. So those are the 2 big sellers that I try to always keep a good supply making those. So, yeah, it'll be interesting.
Try one with salmon egg and see if they'll hit that. I bet they will.
What fish?
Catfish.
Catfish for salmon egg.
Oh, yeah.
No, catfish will eat salmon egg.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Salmon egg.
Yeah.
The powder you talked about having 17 billion tons of powder.
Yeah.
Mix it into some catfish stuff.
Catfish will eat salmon skins. I've used salmon skins.
You're kidding.
No. You know, when I cook my salmon, I save the skins, and I use the skins as catfish bait.
I never heard of that.
Well, there you go.
There you go. You heard about it now.
I am learning, like you could catch various other fish on chicken livers, and so this is another thing. So it probably people wouldn't buy it, but
Why?
I could put, because they didn't know. Do you think most catfish
They got to try it.
I know.
It's just like everything else.
Well, that could be the sample things I'm going to be giving out.
There you go.
But I could also put it in with some of the other flavors.
That's the other thing you can do with your sushi powders, or your salmon powders. Make freeze-dried sushi and sprinkle the salmon powder on it. And,
there ain't nothing wrong with it. It's definitely safe.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, I'm learning all kinds of stuff today. Yeah.
Just hang around. Carl and
2
me,
pros.
And boy,
Yeah. Boy, you look very dapper today.
Thanks.
Yeah, you do. And Carl, too. Boy, you got a nice shirt on and a nice bright hat and his shorts. And, boy, both you guys look so nice today.
My knees hurt, though.
Do they?
Standing on that concrete.
Fairly new tennies on, too, here.
Standing on the concrete at the outdoor show, it gets my knees and my back.
Oh, yeah, I bet. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, well, it's going to be fun going to the show.
I'll tell you, yesterday at the show, it opened yesterday at 10. It also opens at 10 o'clock today. So if you leave now and head to the Summit County Fairgrounds in Talmadge, you'll be able to get in line because the doors open at 10 o'clock. So it's only $12 to get in, and it's free parking, and you can find $2 off coupons on the JDM website and all sorts of stuff.
So if you look up Summit County Fairgrounds, because I have to look for the map.
If you put that in your GPS in your phone, just put Summit County Fairgrounds, and it'll show you the route.
Okay, yeah.
It's very easy to find. It's right on Route 91 and Howe Avenue in Talmadge. And lots of parking, free parking. And yesterday, I am not kidding, it opened at 10 a.m. I got there about 10 till 9. There was a line going out the door.
Really?
They have a canopy walkway, and it went outside the walkway, down the one edge of the parking lot, and then up the fence along the side.
Wow.
It took over 2 hours to get the line inside the building.
You're kidding.
Wow.
There were that many people.
Wow.
And the cool thing about this is they do giveaways. Your ticket in gets you a raffle ticket to get you in a giveaway, and they're giving away today, they're giving away a kayak, a fishing kayak. They're giving away I believe it's a bow mount trolling motor.
Wow.
They're giving away
just a drawing.
Couple of fishing charters.
Yeah.
They're giving away a river anchor and another charter with that. And, I mean, all sorts of really good stuff. And there's like 5 or 6 different prizes, it's not just one thing.
Yeah.
You know? So, and that's for the price of admission.
Huh.
Just fill out your ticket and put it in whatever box you want.
Wow, that's smart.
And they pick it at the end of the day every day. So
yeah,
there's like 5 prizes a day. So they had 5 on Friday, 5 yesterday, and they'll have 5 today. And the drawing will be around 4 o'clock, and they'll
oh boy,
do
that's
that.
cool.
A lot of the vendors too have raffles going. So
do they?
The different groups and the different there's a lot of raffles going on.
Well, that's smart.
Very, very diverse show.
Yeah, that's very smart.
Great.
They're using their head.
Mm-hmm.
I did get a note from Michael P.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is it? Yeah.
Who?
No, not Michael P. I'm sorry, Michael Bray.
Yeah.
There's a taxidermist I did a DVD with, was Michael P. Sorry.
Okay.
So he said, I can't stress enough how many folks came up to me and talked about your show, Joe's stories, and more. That's really interesting.
That's the way it was Friday and Saturday.
I don't see it.
People coming.
I don't see it where I'm, but that's very interesting that they like it.
Where else are you going to hear that rats laugh when tickled?
That's right. Or that manatees have nipples under their armpits.
Or that gorillas fart constantly.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
It's true.
Well, primates, that's what we do. Some of the guys in the Cascray booth are, a little bit lower on the evolutionary chain. So I don't know what they had for breakfast.
Well,
anyway.
You'll be there today, and I'm going to be there today, so I'll be there.
I'll be at the Cascray booth and walking around. And
we'll walk around.
I don't have seminars today.
Yeah, good.
But if you have any questions about anything, just stop by.
Sure.
Say hi.
Yeah.
I'll have any questions, I'll answer them for you. Any species you want to catch.
Well, I told you, I learned some interesting things today as far as that, other ways to catch fish than you think.
Yeah.
You think catfish is a worm. You think bass is a plug. A bluegill is a maggot or a night but there are waxworm, maggot,
crappies or minnows.
Right.
You can, it's very interesting.
Yeah. Sharks injure at least 2,800 people a year in the United States.
What's that?
Sharks.
Eat how many?
Injure at least 2,800 people a year.
And the one listener we had that was there with his granddaughter, the retired fireman from Willoughby.
Yeah.
He also told me that he grew up in Bedford, and his dad had a fish mounted. Was it a fish? It might have been a fish mounted by you. And he had a pheasant that you mounted for him, but his dog ate the pheasant.
Oh, because it was freeze dried, so it's
you know, it was like a chew toy.
Yeah,
edible.
Oh, gee, let's go to the phone lines. How's Captain Jerry doing?
Hey, that is a fantastic story about the dog eating the pheasant.
Very good.
That's totally fantastic. Hey, it's a beautiful day today. I'm sitting here at the old river, man, and watching the seagulls fishing on the Chad and enjoying dinner.
Yeah,
good.
I have a question.
Okay.
I've ran charter boats on the Western Basin since '72, and we've always drift fishing.
Sure.
This year I'm going to do something different. I'm going to troll out of the Central Basin.
Okay.
And I want to use your magnetic dipsies.
Okay.
But I have no idea. I'm fish like 65 foot of water and up. I have no idea what size to use and what color would be recommended.
Well, definitely Magnum is standard, Magnum, and Super Mag. So Magnum would be the ideal size. Everybody has a different outlook on color. Some people want them bright to attract. Some want them so. The best sellers are orange and green, and the reason being, if you use the orange, I don't have red, but orange would be on the right and green would be on the left. So that was the reason in doing orange and green. Some people think, oh, they spook, so they want black or clear. So, or if they want bright chartreuse, is so everybody has a different thing. So maybe, get some of each. I mean, different colors and see. Is certain days maybe the clear or the black will work, and other days the orange and the green will work, or chartreuse. So, and then I have pink too. So but definitely for the Central Basin, Magnum, and it comes with a chart, so you know how much line to let out. What's more important than, that's just a gauge, but the thing to do is to keep track, and the depth is controlled by the amount of line. So if you put one out on the right side and start with 100 feet to start, and nothing happens, you can let out more. Or you can pop it. Here's a neat thing. You can release it and reel it in so far. So, by keeping track of how much line you let out. That's why line counters are so important. You can reel it in to the depth you want, give it slack and reset it. A dipsy, you got to bring it all the way back in and set it. So this lets you change depth by not having to reel it in. I never thought about that, but that is actually a pretty cool way to do it. But just keep track. And then it doesn't matter what depth you're catching it. Say you caught it when you had 100 feet out, then all you got to do is let it out to 100 foot. You could run a second one on the same side and maybe just have it 5 feet different. So you could have one at 100 and one at 95 or 90 and one at 8. You could actually run, because of the distance, you could actually run 3 on each side. And so one straight back, and then 2 at different by dialing it. So it's just so versatile. That's, I think, what makes it work out so well. Does that help?
Well, fantastic. Yes, definitely fantastic. I appreciate that. Like I said, I'm a novice to this. You ask me anything about drift fishing, and I can tell you, but this is all new to me.
Yep. Oh, yeah. It's a very productive way. And here's the nice thing about it, because I ran charters. You get a guy that's a good fisherman and knows what he's doing casting, and he's going to catch the majority of the fish versus the guys that aren't. When it's trolling, like when I would do, everybody gets turned. Each person's up. They have all 6 rods or 8, whatever you're doing. He catches a fish, the next guy up. So it's more evenly spaced, so everybody gets to catch fish, not just a couple guys that are good at casting. So that's the other benefit when you're running charters. All righty?
Awesome.
Good.
All right, one more question.
Sure.
I got to do this. Every time I talk to you, I got to put a shout-out, man, to Bob Ivancic at Ivancic Marine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Me and him talk every day about the program on Sunday.
There you go. Very good.
You guys have a good day.
You too, and good luck. Any questions, just give us a call.
Yep.
Thanks. I sure will.
Thank you.
Have a nice one.
You too, Jerry.
Right. Bye now.
Bye. Okay, and then now we got to take a break because we're going to have Fishing Report on the other side.
Mm-hmm. Do you enjoy a good story about hunting or fishing? Then you need to get your hands on Tales from the Trails, the real-life adventures of Castaway Coulis. Take a journey around the world with Joe as he recounts some of his best hunting and fishing trips, from Africa to Alaska, from behind the Iron Curtain to Australia. You can share in his memories through the book, complete with pictures to take you on the journey. It's a trip back in time looking through the eyes of an outdoors legend. Order your copy today on Amazon or at castaway.com. That's Castaway with a K.com. Thanks for listening to the Inside the Great Outdoors podcast. If you have any questions, comments, or stories you'd like to share, shoot us an email at jcoulis@castaway.com. That's Castaway with a K. We'll share your comments with our audience on the following week's show. Thanks again for listening to Inside the Great Outdoors.
Welcome back to listening to Inside the Great Outdoors. Beautiful day out, sunny, going to be a nice warm week. And boy, get out and whether you go look for morels or go fishing or just a lot of, can be outside instead of being cooped up inside.
Yep. So, get outside, enjoy some fresh air and sunshine.
Oh, man.
Get that vitamin D level up.
There you go. Okay,
it'll make you happy.
What's the report?
Just like fishing will make you happy.
Yeah. You don't have to
Unless you go with Joe, because then he'll just make fun of you for catching dinks.
Well, then quit catching dinks.
No, you got to stay busy, man.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Helps you figure them out. But anyway, it was a interesting week. I went out early in the week. I found some open water in the Portage Lakes area. And
shore fishing.
A lot of the lakes still have ice on them. Big chunks of ice floating around out in the middle, but the edges are open. You still have to watch the wind because it'll blow from one side of the lake to the other. You might be fishing open water 1 minute, and then the wind changes direction, and pretty soon here comes a big slab of ice to close off your fishing spot. So it's a, it's a transition time. But I went to one of the channels that runs between the Portage Lakes, and let's see, it was the one between Long and East Reservoir. Yeah. So open water. I was fishing maybe 2 feet deep because it's really shallow, but I know the bottom of the channels is that black, mucky, nasty, swampy stuff. And but that's what warms up first, and that's where the fish go in the spring, because all the little bugs and critters hatch in the mud, and the fish go in to eat the little bugs and critters, because they're not eating big stuff yet either. Their metabolism's still slow because the water is still very cold. So, but couple of degrees it goes up from these warm days, and it'll trigger those fish to start eating a little bit. So I didn't catch a thing. I had 0 bites, and I used everything. I threw everything in the tackle box at them, from the Cascray plastics, the microplastics on ice fishing jigs. I used waxworms. I used maggots. I used even small minnows.
Why do you think? Too cold of water yet?
Because I think the water's too cold.
Okay.
And it hasn't warmed up enough to trigger any
Which
action.
is going to change this week.
Oh, yeah, I think so. And it's a my Cascray pals are listening to the radio show, and they like Dr. Norm's manatee talk for some reason. I don't know why.
I wonder why.
But anyway, but I did see some folks who were at the outdoor show yesterday, who I've seen at several outdoor shows. I've seen them out at Nemesilla fishing a lot, and they've bought some bass gear and some crappie gear. And yesterday they had 2 catfish rod, but they went out. The Millers went out to Nemesilla, it looked like, and caught a couple small bass. So they're biting. They're starting even now. So
Yeah, and it's going to be a sunny
locally.
day, so.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing, I know we've talked a lot about the outdoor show there at the Summit County Fairgrounds, but they have all sorts of seminars. I did a crappie seminar. Northeast Ohio Crappie Club did a seminar. Mine was more about regular, just general fishing. Theirs was more about tournament fishing and fishing club tournaments and a little more involved than my basic stuff. They had muskie seminars, fly tying demos and seminars, cooking demos and seminars, and walleye fishing demos and seminars, and muskie fishing. Did I say muskie?
Yes.
Okay. But all sorts of stuff. And bass fishing seminars with Vic Vadalaro. He did the bass fishing. And Nicholas Zart did the walleye. And I saw that yesterday, Nicholas Zart and his fishing partner there were out on Lake Erie catching walleye. Ooh. In the morning before the seminar. So, and they had found some. He said it took them a while to find some active fish, but they found a big school of walleye, and he said it took him 30 gallons of gas to get there and back. But I don't know where he was fishing. I'm thinking more up north towards the Detroit River up that way.
Yeah,
the Western Basin area. But I could be wrong. I don't know. I did not ask him.
Yeah,
but he did a really good walleye seminar, and that's one of the good things about these shows they have a diverse lineup, but they're all local guys. So it's everybody fishing around here. That's why these smaller local shows are great, because they get the local guys from that area to come in.
And it don't matter what part of the country.
Exactly.
It's so if you're in Louisiana or Utah or wherever.
The local guys will give you the information.
Yeah, because it's different. What works here won't necessarily work somewhere else, and vice versa.
You know, I could sit here and do a seminar about how they catch crappies in Mississippi, but that's different than up here.
Yeah.
You know, with
like when we did the tournaments, they did so much spider rigging where they have the boat with all these rods out in front, and they just slowly go around, and they fish differently than we do here. Because the conditions, the situation, the terrain, everything else is different.
Yeah.
We don't have these flooded lakes like they do.
Different water temperatures, it's different water clarities, it's water depth. And up here, the reservoirs they're completely different. And even the reservoirs up here, each one has different characteristics that you need to take into account when you fish them. But right now, you're talking about the sun's out. It's going to be warm this week. The places to look at your local lakes and ponds are the north shores of lakes and coves on the north sides of lakes.
Why?
Because they get the most sunlight. The sun, because of its position in the sky, hits those north shores.
Right.
The south-facing shores on the north sides of the lakes.
Right.
I was explaining in my seminar, a really good place early is the causeway at Mosquito, the Route 88 causeway.
Because of moving water?
No.
Mm-mm.
Oh.
Heats up.
It heats up.
Why?
Because it's a road and it's concrete and there's big rocks and a bridge and the sun hits that concrete and the concrete soaks up the heat, which warms up the water in front of it, especially the south side of the causeway. But if the wind is blowing from the south to the north, you might want to try to fish the other side. It might be slower, and it usually takes the north side to warm up a little bit longer because, I mean, you could probably go there now, and there'll be snow on the shore and on the rocks down there because it's in the shade the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And just that little bit of a temperature change means a lot, especially during a transition time like this. So always pay attention to water temperature. I was talking to one of the Crappie Club guys, and in their seminar and covering it, and we cover a lot of the same things, but we're in agreement on one thing, that lure color is not the most important thing when you're crappie fishing.
Oh.
It's water temperature, it's water depth, where the fish are in the water column. It is water clarity. It has to do with the moon phase, how much daylight there is, and then color. Color's down the list. And sometimes changing a color when you're fishing will trigger fish to bite, no matter what you're fishing for. But those other factors play a bigger role. And those are the things when you go out. It's not just going out and plopping down in your chair and throwing a line out. You think about those things, and you intersect and be in the right place at the right time and match the fish's patterns that they're in for that time of the year. And that's how you get good at fishing for anything.
Sometimes wind direction, too, plays a role in that, too.
Yep. So,
and like mosquito, sometimes that east side of the causeway, because of the weeds in there, they're going to be in there earlier.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it seemed, at least to me.
And that's why those coves and stuff, the shallow coves that have that black mucky bottom, and during the summer are filled with weeds or filled with lily pads, those weeds and lily pads aren't coming up yet. If they are, they're just really close to the bottom. Right. But the fish are in there because they're chasing the little critters that are in those weeds. And that's where they're going to go first.
Because of warmer weather.
And you don't have to use big baits. You can use tiny little baits because that's what they're eating. Yeah. You're matching the hatch.
Yeah.
So
okay, good.
Great time to get out, because from now until whenever, it's just going to get better.
Yeah.
Better and better.
All right. Well, we'll take a short break and we will return.
Ready to catch the big one? Introducing Kodiak Fish Attractant Catfish Bombs, your ultimate secret weapon for a successful fishing trip. Designed with fishermen in mind, Kodiak Catfish Bombs release an irresistible scent that draws catfish in from miles away. Just toss it in, wait a bit, and watch the action unfold. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, these bombs are hot stuff. Perfect for the weekend angler or those late-night catfish excursions. Watch your catch rate explode with Kodiak Fish Attractant Catfish Bombs. Available online at Castaway.com. That's Castaway with a K.com. Thanks for listening to the Inside the Great Outdoors podcast. If you have any questions, comments, or stories you'd like to share, shoot us an email at jcoulis@castaway.com. That's Castaway with a K. We'll share your comments with our audience on the following week's show. Thanks again for listening to Inside the Great Outdoors.
Welcome back. Listening to Inside the Great Outdoors, storytelling time, and Captain Jerry called earlier with some questions, but it brought me, I was thinking, well, first I got a notice, which I hope isn't true, but it could be, that the first mate I had in New York died, and he was a young guy. I hope not, but he lived on Grand Island and fished, and I thought about, boy, talk about being lucky. Grow up on the Niagara River, and you got smallmouth and muskie and salmon and trout, and man, a fishery grew up like that. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So when I started with chartering, the dealer, a good friend of mine and customer, mounted a lot of stuff, owned it, and he said, you need to buy a boat. Boat? Yeah, so he talked me into a 32-foot Wellcraft. And said, you need to charter, but you need to do something different. So, because of taxidermy, I wanted all the captains to send me work for big walleyes. And I had T-shirts made and hats, which I gave out to all the captains, and I gave them a discount or a free mount if they send me any work. But I thought, now that wasn't the ideal boat for casting, but it was, probably should have trolled with that one in the beginning. But I says, I don't know anything about the Western Basin, how, where, and whatever. So I lucked out. I lucked out twice. So I found a first mate whose father was a captain. So he knew, and he had somebody he could call or talk to at night. Dad, where'd you catch fish yesterday? We're going tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So getting that first mate that was really good as a fisherman, but had the in, basically ran the show. I didn't know what to do. I learned from him, but that was very lucky having that first mate. And then I thought, well, as far as doing something different, I'll do executive charters. And I gave him breakfast. I did make the mistake on sometimes I gave him liquor, but I gave him lunch, took care of the fish, did the whole thing. Nobody was doing that. And what I did, and that worked out pretty cool. I one of the girls at work, I had her contact all the big companies, Forest City and all the big banks and all the big companies, mm-hmm. and wrote to and send them information, called to see about that. Nobody ever did that, mm-hmm. So I got companies somebody would come into town, and then I found the right kind of a rep that had rep for the Blue Fox Lures and the Tackle Box Company in Middlefield.
Flambeau.
Mm-hmm. And so he got me all these sponsors. All the captains, they were quiet. Nothing on the boat. They were incognito. I decorated the boat, which was good for sponsors. That's what they wanted. Now it's whole different. They followed me. Now they do it. So I had all these decals. I would have to take the rep out, but he would bring some of the company people and give them free charters, fine. But that got that whole system going. And so that's how I lucked out and started. So then I lucked out that out of New York, this outdoor writer contacted me. He wanted to come, and they brought a TV crew, and he wanted to come fishing. So I took him for free every year, and they would come. He would write articles, and then they had the TV and for New York, because they were in, and because people were coming. So I made friends with this guy. And so after a few years, he says, you need to think about moving your operation at least at a certain time of year to New York. In the meantime, I met somebody, another fisherman, and he says, the walleye then really didn't get going till like beginning of June.
I remember that.
Okay.
Because we didn't know where to fish for them.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. That's the only reason. But there was no fishing.
4th of July is when you started fishing for walleyes. Remember that?
Yep. So they says, okay, you need to go to Michigan City. And because that fishing started in April 1st or whatever.
Yep.
So I moved my boat there, and I would start there in the spring, do all that. It was cool. I got these rods from, what rod company would that have been? Boy, in my mind. But they were...
Master rods?
No. Oh, shoot, I can't think. I'll think of it. But I had like these 8-foot rods.
Like Heartland?
No. Real light rods.
Heddens?
Huh?
Are they Hedden?
No, what company? It was a different company.
I'm trying to think of all of my old rods.
Yeah, but they were like 8 foot long, and I'd have like 8 of them out, and you'd run into a school of, say, maybe coho or something that were maybe 5 pounds, but you had rods going everywhere, and a light rod was a fun with a smaller fish.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So then, in fact, when I took the Hatteras there in the spring, I would move the Hatteras there in the fall and fish up at Manistee. Then I moved to Michigan City, which is at the south, and they would take it out of the water, put it in the spring. I'd fish there, and then at the end of the season, which was getting close to the end of May, to move it to Lake Erie, I had to drive it all the way up because it was with the tuna tower, couldn't move it. Drove it, I think it was like 50 hours or some ungodly, and drive it all the way up through the Straits of Mackinac, under the bridge, and into Lake Huron and Lake St. Clair and Lake Erie, and so I did that. So then I had this gentleman from New York coming, and that's when he was saying, you need to think about, because Michigan City was okay, but Ludington, where I fished in the fall, was slowing down. Mm-hmm. It ran through its peak.
Yeah.
And so
lake trout.
Yes,
it was all lake trout there.
I moved it to Lake Ontario, up through the Welland Canal,
mm-hmm.
and got it into Lake Ontario. Same thing. I found a mate through them, and this is a gentleman that died. I hope not, Joe Sinelli, and so he knew the ropes and everything. So having the right first mate was the key till I could learn it, and then once I learned it, so I had him for a first mate. So, and which was really interesting. I was snubbed in Lake Ontario, in Lake Michigan, by the big charter captains. Here's this new guy with his big boat and all this.
And this tuna tower.
Yeah, right.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Mother goose.
That's right.
Right. And so it was odd. So I was there before the peak. I mean, we're catching 25 salmon a day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was a nice 20 to 30 pounders, along with brown trout, big brown trout, and Lakers and steelhead, the whole thing. So I got there before, got friends with the right guys, and I was in when it got really peaked.
And you were young.
Yeah, that was the whole secret, too. So, but then later on, they're calling me.
I was young.
Yeah, but here was the secret. So I went there. I'll never forget. I went there on New Year's Day and drove up there with another charter captain and his wife, and we went looking for a dock. There are no docks. So I got into Wilson, New York, and I went. There was a sailboat marina, and he was there that day, New Year's Day, and I went and met him. He's a grouchy guy. He became friendly, but he was grouchy. He said, "We ain't got no docks, and I tried to talk to him a little bit, hit it off a little bit, and he said, "Well, if you want, I could put you in the slip next to where he had a lift that could lift the Hatteras out. It was 23 tons, but he had a big enough lift that he could lift it." And he says, so what they would do is it was a little well where they dropped the boat in, where the big crane not a crane, but a hoist lift. Yeah. He could drive out on these tracks, and lower it. Mm-hmm. And then they would lower it in the water, and then they would pull it to the side and store it there, and then you had to move it. He said, but I could rent you that temporary thing. I said, that's fine. I don't care. So I got a dock. It was the only one. Then later on, somebody died, and I got to be at another regular dock that was across from this island where I bought a cottage so I could live in a cottage instead of the boat all the time. And that's why I got the Hatteras, so I could live in it.
And so and the mice.
Yes.
That was my cottage.
No, that was another cottage.
Oh, okay.
That was another cottage that I bought that one for the...
All the mice moved in.
So the people had somewhere to stay, because otherwise they'd have to drive to Niagara Falls.
Uh-huh.
And in the morning, they'd... I bought that cottage for the people, so I had my own containment, and then I had on this island, I had a nicer cottage where I lived in. And it was right across from it. But all these guys called, "Can you help us get a dock, Yeah, right. You were friendly to me and helpful in Lake Michigan, I'll be just as helpful." But there wasn't anything. So they did finally come around. They had to go to another port and whatever. But
that'll learn them.
The secret was, number one, being young and aggressive, and number two, finding the right two first mates. That was the secret. Because otherwise, how do you go in blind? You got to produce.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it got where the fishing got bad in Lake Ontario, because they fished it out basically. Mm-hmm. So then it was like, okay.
Something happened with the alewives.
The alewives, they just ate up the alewives, and there were no more. And the bait disappeared.
Bait population crashed. And everything
And so when you're only catching Lakers and little ones and slow fishing, that's pure hell. When you take a charter out and there's no fishing, it's the hell.
I remember we went up there and you just had installed that directional bait finder.
Right. It's kind of like a live scope, but it went down through the bottom of the boat.
And you said you had just installed it.
Yeah.
And we were the first ones
to
test it, You said he had to drill a big hole in the bottom of the boat, and we're all looking at each other. What is it? What if this thing sinks? It was an 8 or
10-inch hole.
Yeah, in the bottom of your boat. We're looking at each other. What if this damn thing sinks?
Yeah, it would take minutes. That took a lot of guts to do that.
We went out there and we'd run you'd say, they're going to hit on the right side of the boat. They're going to hit on the left side of the boat.
Yeah, because you knew where the fish were. Yeah.
And we'd run to that side and we'd run to the other side.
So you had a good time.
It was funny. Yeah, we had a good time.
That's good.
Then we started talking about Africa. My one buddy went over for the zoo all the time. And you were a little cold at first with us, Yeah. But then when you started talking about Africa, it was old buddy, like old home week.
Yeah. Interesting. It's interesting to hear what the other side saw of you when you're, because you don't realize it.
You got a free sandwich, and you were okay after that,
People saw what we see every Sunday. They'd be...
Oh, you guys. Boy, you look nice today. You look so dapper. And, Doc, you look so dapper. Let's take a break, and then we'll...
He's losing his vision, too.
Good News Keo on the other side.
Whether you're a novice or a well-seasoned angler, if you want that extra edge in catching more fish, you want one of the many species of Kodiak scent. Made from real bait fish, Kodiak fishing scents are made from pure freeze-dried bait. Freeze-drying enhances the scent considerably, making it the most potent fishing scent available to the fishermen today. It comes in many flavors, including shad, crayfish, salmon egg, and the most popular, minnow. Add the paste to your lures, it really sticks. And when a fish hits, it doesn't let go. And if you use tube jigs, try the tube injector. This handy syringe is made especially to be inserted into a tube jig. Kodiak fishing scents are now available online at Castaway.com. That's Castaway with a K.com. If you want to catch fish, you want Kodiak from Coulis.
Thanks for listening to the Inside the Great Outdoors podcast. If you have any questions, comments, or stories you'd like to share, shoot us an email at jcoulis@castaway.com. That's Castaway with a K. We'll share your comments with our audience on the following week's show. Thanks again for listening to Inside the Great Outdoors.
Welcome back. This is Inside the Great Outdoors. Time for some good news with Good News Keo. Right on.
You jogged the memory, Joe.
Yeah.
I'm going on a charter out of Alcott, about 1983, I think it was.
Yeah, Alcott was just, it is, everything was mile. There was 12 Mile Creek, and there was, I think Wilson was 12 mile, Alcott was 16 mile. It's all distance from the Niagara River, and that's how they like
Detroit.
Yeah, marked. I can't think of the word I want to use, but yeah, Alcott was just not far from me, 4 miles.
Well, several of us from the sheriff's office booked a charter with followed by the last name of Loveland. I don't know.
I knew Loveland. Sure, he was also from Lake Erie. That's where I met him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. He lived in Thompson. I don't know if he still does.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you're right.
We were there. There was a big tournament going on. It was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday trout and salmon tournament.
Right.
And he asked us, he says, "You want to enter the tournament?" It was an open tournament.
Yeah.
And we said, "Well, what does it cost?" It was like, $30 or $40.
Right.
That was a lot of money back then.
And everybody had to be in.
Right. Yeah, the whole boat. And
right.
We're only fishing the one day.
Yeah.
It was on a Sunday. And we had a great day. Oh, we caught a lot of fish. And he sent us a note a few days later. He says, if you guys had entered that tournament,
you would have
that 34-pound king would have taken first place.
Oh, yeah.
And the 11-pound coho that I caught would have taken first place.
Oh, my.
I would have won a boat, motor, and trailer if I'd have spent like $30 or $40.
Yeah.
Anyway, what a great fishery that was. Though. It was amazing. And we did stay overnight, prior to the charter in a little cottage.
There was only one guy that had that motel there and ran it. He was kind of a grumpy guy. He owned everything over there. He had a bait store, and he had everything. He was there in the beginning. Yeah. He had all these cottages, and
that's why they're so grumpy, dealing with a bunch of
drunk fishermen.
Yeah,
all
right.
The time. But I know exactly
we used to
who
stay
it was.
in that hotel in Wilson, New York.
Yeah, they had a little hotel there.
I stayed in a motel out there before.
Yeah.
Hey, a couple of good news items here.
Okay.
I put a link to both of them on the Facebook group page there. But the Ohio Division of Wildlife is releasing 85,000 rainbow trout at 90 locations throughout the state beginning March 12th.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes continues
this
through
week.
May.
This week.
And if you want to know when and where, you can go to ohiodnr.gov/trout stockings, and there's also a link to that page on the link that I provided.
Yeah, because they put them in, and you can catch them right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right now.
Shadow Lake in Chagrin Falls, Veterans Park Lake in Menor. Close to,
there's also a new spot they're putting them in. Wingfoot Lake in Portage.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's
yes.
good.
So
I saw that.
Something a little different at Wingfoot.
Wow.
There you go.
Excellent. And they are tasty.
Oh,
they
yeah.
Sure are.
Yeah, and there's some nice size ones they put in, too.
Oh,
and
yeah.
an occasional brown trout or brook trout. They put other stuff in there they sneak in.
They sneak it in there.
Hey, Joe, you know what's coming up? The 10th annual Barbie Fishing Rod Steelhead Derby. That's March 29th, at the Metro Parks. And if the weather's really bad, you can go over to Wallace Lake. Mike Derkelak's got a bunch of trout stocked in Wallace Lake, so you can fish there. So, it's going to be held at that South Mastic Woods picnic area. That's by Puritas Road there by the bridge, and there'll be a barbecue at noon. So
what date?
That's going to be March 29th, and you can get your tickets at clevelandmetroparks.com.
Good. Well, all kind of good
Okay,
news.
and
yeah,
also from the Ohio Division of Natural Resources, the annual job shadow opportunity is coming up May 2nd. If you're a high school junior or senior, this is your opportunity to shadow either a biologist or a wildlife officer or engineer or one of the many different job opportunities at Division of Wildlife. As I put a link to that as well. And if you have any questions, Will Armbruster is the guy at the Division or ODNR that's coordinating this, and you can contact Will at william.armbruster@dnr.ohio.gov if you have any further questions. But you want to get in there if
that's
you are
a good idea.
Yeah.
Junior or senior, or someone who is a junior or senior in high school and might be interested in this, please do take advantage of it because it's a great opportunity.
Well, you get to see exactly what it's like, good or bad. For you.
Yep. You spend the whole day just following the whoever you're assigned to around.
Yeah.
Your area of interest.
Yep.
Very good.
So real good deal.
Yeah.
Great opportunity.
Right. One other thing that's coming up is the Holy Mackerel Fish Flea Market. That's at the New Russia Fishing, the lodge there in New Russia Township. It's on Butternut Ridge Road in Oberlin, Ohio. That's going to be April 4th through the 6th. This is going to be probably the last one they're going to have there.
Yep. Mike is retiring.
Yeah, he's retiring. Yeah.
And everything must go. And if you've ever seen his displays at these shows, there's a lot that needs to go.
Who is this, Mike? Who?
I can't remember his last name.
I can't either.
Oh, okay.
But it's something to go to. You'll see some old and some new.
Yeah. Well, we got time. Yeah, we could talk about it again.
Used tackle, so we'll bring it up again.
Oh, yeah. You got plenty of time.
And, speaking of tackle, if you're ready to stock up for the spring or want to, if you got the cabin fever, so to speak, and 50 degrees is too cold for you, come out to the Summit County Fairgrounds to the JDM Fishing and Outdoor Show and stop by the Cast Crate booth and pick up a Big Daddy fishing kit.
Oh.
They developed a Big Daddy fishing kit, so
like it.
to get you started on your road to crappie success.
How many donuts are in there?
No, there are 5 1/32 ounce jig heads and 20 soft plastic baits of assorted color and style.
Your favorites?
My faves.
Good. Oh.
Very good.
Wow.
Yepper. It's all going on. It is that time of year.
I'm going to be there too. I'll get home, get things together. I'll grab some books, make sure I bring some books along, and spend some time there today.
Have reading hour with Joe.
Reading hour.
Well, not
you,
reading.
You
he'll
can
show
sit
him the
on
pictures.
his knee and he'll read to you.
You're right. Oh, Joe, what I put up
Right.
That's right.
Yeah, I know. They got a little bit of culture for you.
Oh, good.
Boy, we need it.
Yeah, these guys do.
Today, this inspired me because I've used this one before, but I think it applies to today. From Charles Dickens, by the way. You remember him, Joe?
Oh, yeah. He lived down the street from me.
He was a Dickens.
He was a Dickens.
He was a little Dickens when Joe was a kid.
Anyway, Charles once said that spring is the time of year when it's summer in the sun and winter in the shade.
Oh,
there
you go.
Boy, is that true. Is that true? Wow.
Yeah. And today is typical of that, I think.
Yes. Yes, you're right. Good. All righty. Well, I hope you have a wonderful week.
All right. You guys do the same.
Okay. Joe, you and me are going to have to make it to Mesquite this year.
You know it.
The Flatheads are calling.
There you go. I'll supply the bait.
Yep.
All right.
All righty.
All right.
See ya.
Sounds good.
We'll see.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll get you some chicken livers and some shrimp and whatever else. And
there we go.
When is that normally? What time? When do you normally?
May is the best.
May
and June are the best.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and get my boat running this year.
There you go.
If I get my shots in my back,
too.
hopefully,
Yeah.
I got to get my new transom put in to replace the old transom.
I got to get my new transom put in my back.
Your transom
got a big soft spot.
You got a big transom, all right. Yeah, and it's broke.
My bilge pump's working too. So
yeah. Oh, your bilge pump. Oh my goodness. Oh well. Sunny out there, warm. Good day to get out there and make some memories. And we talk about it every week. The most important thing is get out and make some memories, because the memories you happen to make today could be the most lasting, most important ones. Sitting on a couch doesn't make too many memories. But get out there. Even if you go take a walk around, so it's an important thing to be able to do to make somebody smile. Make a phone call to somebody you haven't talked to in a while. Win-win situation. They're going to get a smile out of it. You can get a smile out of it. And so it's important to do. And you see somebody in the store, pay them a compliment. The workers there, they're just they very seldom hear anything like that. So it's an important thing to make their day, and you'll get a little charge out of it too, because it's important. And the smile, a day without a smile is a day wasted. Older we get, the less time we got to waste. And as my mother would always tell me, Joey, don't you ever take any wooden nickels.
You've been listening to Inside the Great Outdoors with Joe Coolis, Joe Keogh, and Dr. Norm. Join us every Sunday morning from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. on AM 1420 The Answer. Download the podcast of today's show and previous broadcasts at IGOradio.com. Follow the show on Facebook and get interactive with the cast and crew. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week, 7 a.m., right here on AM 1420 The Answer.
The preceding program's views, claims,